I'll fast forward just a little bit to the next really big thing that happened, and that was in the 1940s, was this book came out. It's the Guidebook of United States Coins. It's the Red Book. And one of the reasons I did that even got involved in this seminar is one thing that I do. I'm the price editor for the Red Book. I started doing that about 7 or 8 years ago, and every year I get together. I've gotten to be really good friends with Ken Brissett, and when I did my seminar in Colorado Springs, he actually came in and helped, did a little bit of a talk about it. He talked about kind of the history about the Red Book, how it started, and he related. It was interesting. He said a lot of coin dealers really had a real problem with the Red Book. They didn't want people to know retail prices on coins. That was like, you're going to tell people what they're worth. How can I, that's going to ruin my business, because they wanted to be able to name their own price essentially. But as you know, it was enormously popular, and the Red Book has kind of kept the same format. This book, I'm sure, by far the best-selling, it's one of the best-selling books of all time. They sell right now, the current, I think, subscriptions or publications probably near 400,000 copies a year, which is a lot for any book, let alone a coin book. And it's been going since the 40s. I'm sure there's been millions and millions of them sold over the years. And as a matter of fact, the Red Book itself has become a collectible. People collect Red Books, and this is kind of a neat. This is a retro copy of the Red Book. This was made by Whitman. This is a reprint of the first edition of the Red Book. So it's almost identical, and they've got a little bit of history on the inside of R.S. Yeoman and Ken Brissett. And Ken Brissett's been with the Red Book since, I guess, at least in the 50s. I think he's been doing it for almost, is that right, Tom? Like 50 years, I believe. Yeah, like over 50 years. So he's an institution with that. And I've really enjoyed my relationship with him, being able to work with the Red Book, because probably about 8 or 9 years ago, the Red Book was bought by Whitman Publishing. Well, not Whitman Publishing, became Whitman Publishing. It was bought by the Anderson brothers, who blended in with their organization, and they've kind of taken it into into the modern age, essentially. I've talked some of the history. It's interesting, when the Andersons bought the Red Book probably 8 years ago, believe it or not, they kept their pricing on index cards. So it's gone from being on index cards, now you have to log online to do your pricing, and it just was announced last week or week before, that you can now get the Red Book on iPad. So you can be able to download an iPad or I guess Amazon and Kindle. So they've really taken it. It's gone in 8 or 9 years. The Red Book has made gigantic leaps in advancements in what they're doing as far as the Red Book. They're trying to get as up to date pricing. My guess is also sometime in the very near future, you'll be able to get the Red Book. It'll probably be online 24/7. It'll be an ongoing updated thing. It won't be a pricing thing. I remember even as a kid, back in the 70s, the Red Book used to come out traditionally like in June or July. That was kind of like this traditional publication date. And it was such an important price guide that I remember in the 70s that coin dealers would actually save their coins. They wouldn't even they would hold them back until they got the new edition of the Red Book came out to see what they were going to be in the Red Book. So that was like, it was a fundamental part of the business at that time. It's still important, but it was like really, I mean, that was the price guide for a long, long, long time. So this book continues to be, I think, fairly important, and it's got a lot of, they're trying to make improvements to it every year.